Welcome to Cranium X Rectum. Let's take a look at Elon Musk. Insane? Stupid? Or maybe just an average guy? Elon Musk. Well, there's no question that he's wealthy. And you can be forgiven if some of his actions make you wonder whether he is daft, insane, or really just an average guy. And there's a lot that we could discuss. Eventually, we'll probably discuss a lot of things about Elon Musk. But for now, what I want to do, and yes, I do have notes so that I make sure I stay on track, that I sort of stick to the script and stick to the time, and just that looking off to the side there, I just started a timer so that I know if this gets to be an hour long, perhaps it's time to stop. But the foci, the things on which I wish to focus, is the tracking of Elon's jet, the tracking of jets in general, his reaction to it, and the legitimate privacy issue that seems to be getting ignored. And in some cases, it's a legitimate privacy issue, and people are saying that it's impossible to solve, which, yeah, no. Okay, so I should also mention, all of the articles I reference are below in the description. In fact, there are even more articles than what I'll directly mention, so that you can do some reading on your own, you can do research on your own, and draw your own conclusions. So let's start with, the big issue. Elon's jet is getting tracked, and this fellow, Mr. Sweeney, is posting it to his Twitter account. Okay. So the first thing is, how is his jet even getting tracked? Now there's the obvious. If it's sitting on the ground, there's a tail number, and that tail number is associated with Elon Musk's ownership information. When it's in the air, his plane, every plane, is being tracked by a system called ADS-B. It stands for Automatic Dependent Surveillance Broadcast. And there is an ADS-B out, sending the information out, and there is an ADS-B in, receiving it. And I want to mention right off the top, a good channel to take a look at is 7-4 Gear. The fellow who does the videos there, his name is Kelsey. And he has a couple of videos where he explains this, and particularly he explains that airplanes are able to talk to each other. So, yeah, you have two Southwest jet airliners, or a Southwest and an Air Canada, or something like that. And they are flying toward each other. The planes are talking to each other. So if they are like this, the planes are, hey, everything's okay, everything's wonderful. But if they're coming at each other, then the planes, if no one does anything, air traffic control fails to notice it, the pilots fail to notice it, no one notices a thing. Using this system, ADS-B, out, the two planes will talk to each other and say, hey, we are on the same altitude, flying in opposing directions, and if we do nothing, we are going to crash. And on their own, the planes will decide, hey, I am going to go up. Okay, you go up and I will go down. And they do this. It's automatic. The whole point of ADS-B, both out and in, is to keep people safe on airplanes. In the worst eventuality that an airplane goes down, the ADS-B is an automatic thing. Okay, and it will say, hey, this is where I am as I'm going down to the ground. The issue arises that this information is broadcast just into the air. All right, so it is publicly accessible, and air traffic controllers everywhere need this information. If you watch videos on Kelsey's channel, 74 Gear, you will hear him say on almost all of his videos, air traffic control knows where you are, how fast you are going, what direction you are going, and what is your altitude. Now, it probably has more information than that, but it knows this because this system, ADS-B, sends that information out into the ether so that other planes can register it, air traffic control can register it, and it's intended to keep all of us safe. Keeps airplanes from colliding with one another. The unfortunate part is obviously anybody can intercept that information, and the FAA lists the owner's contact information publicly. The air registration database is publicly accessible. So, for example, Elon Musk's tail number, well, at the time of recording, the tail number on Elon Musk's plane is 628 Tango Sierra. It's actually November 268 Tango Sierra. But every plane in the United States starts with N, the letter N, November. So when they're talking to air traffic control or other airplanes or whatever, they would just say 628 Tango Sierra. And off you go. So that information is publicly available. All right, Elon is upset about that. So the first place we take issue, and I get it. Elon is wealthy, he's well known, he makes himself a celebrity. It's really easy to kick Elon Musk. You could just as easily kick Shaquille O'Neal, or you could kick Harrison Ford, or, you know, Joe Biden, or Donald Trump, or anybody who is in the spotlight is easily kicked. The point of this is less to be kicking Elon and to take a look at, okay, what is Elon doing? And then, how does it relate back to me? Am I doing the same stuff? So the first thing is that Elon decides, hey, this is a safety risk. This is putting my safety at jeopardy. Okay, wow, all right, Elon, Cranium X Rectum moment here. The whole point of ADS-B is to keep you and everyone else in the sky safe. Okay, so broadcasting that information out is for your safety. There is no safety risk in it. The only reason you think there's a safety risk is because, sorry, you're a dick. And you choose to believe that people want to seek you out to do you harm. You're paranoid. Maybe you have good reason. I don't know. Perhaps you receive death threats on a regular basis. We could get into a whole discussion about perhaps you should modify your behavior to be less of a dick. Who knows? It's a thought, you know, it's certainly an option. But Elon decides this is a safety risk, and he blocks all of Mr. Sweeney's Twitter accounts that track private jets. Okay, next problem. Elon Musk has stated that he has said, I am a free speech absolutist. Everybody should have free speech. I am a free speech absolutist. Except for when I don't like what you're saying. Then I'll crap all over you for doing it. Then have less faith in free speech. So let's take a look at those two things together. And the thing we need to ask ourselves is, because again, it's easy to kick Elon and point out how he's being erroneous in his behavior. But the important thing here is, instead of just doing that, are we stopping to ask ourselves, is there anywhere where I am doing that? And I have run into this, wow, countless times in my life. My former wife openly admitted that she lived by a double standard. That things she would say to me, you are not allowed to do that, she would then turn around and do that. When she did it, it was okay. When I did it, it was wrong. When she did it, it was okay. If one of the kids did it, then it was wrong. Wow. And there are a lot of people who do things like what Elon is doing. I have the power to shut you down. I have the power to retaliate against you, and so I will. I can, therefore I will. But here's where the problem comes in. Elon Musk has the solution. In fact, the FAA has the solution to this. The FAA has two programs. One is called the Privacy ICAO Aircraft Address Program. And what that does is it masks the owner's identity in the Civil Aviation Registry. Okay. And there's the Limiting Aircraft Data Displayed program called LADD, L-A-D-D, which also limits the data distribution. So the plane is still broadcasting the information, it's just limited as to whom does it get distributed. So you have to be on the official recipient list to get the data, or to get access to the data. All right. So the FAA has two programs in place that can already mask owner information. But owners have to ask for it. Either program, they have to ask. And both programs are for a limited amount of time. So you have to ask again and again and again. Well, there is a solution out there. The solution comes from domain registration, domain name registration. So when you go to a domain registrar, for example, Namecheap, that's who I use to register domain names. As soon as you register with Namecheap, they automatically mask your information. They basically replace it with their own. They give themselves as the owner, they give themselves as the owner address, they mask your phone number and say specifically that it's withheld for privacy, they mask your email address and say specifically it's withheld for privacy. So this technology exists, and it's used every day for things as simple as domain registration. It's, what, $15 a year to register a .com domain versus roughly $1,000 an hour to operate a private airplane, in addition to the cost of purchasing it. And they're having difficulty maintaining the privacy of owner information. On top of which, Elon Musk started his career by building PayPal. So clearly he knows how to code a computer. Also clearly he has experience with domain name registration. Example, Tesla. That's a domain name. The Boring Company, SpaceX, PayPal. So he already knows that the solution exists, and he has the skills to implement it. He also has the reach to mount a campaign encouraging all flight authorities to use this kind of system. He has the ability to make it available, he has the ability to make it simple to use, and he has the ability to put out a message that reaches to aviation authorities around the world saying, hey, how about we maintain some privacy here and safeguard everybody who's flying around in a private jet? Okay, great. That's the stuff that Elon Musk could do. The whole point of this channel is to look at things that are happening every day and, one, laugh about them, okay? Where you can find some humor in it, laugh about it. And what it is I'm thinking about comedians who joke about stuff. And, you know, they'll make a joke about Joe Biden doing this, that, or the other. They'll make a joke about Donald Trump doing this, that, or the other. They'll make a joke about Elon Musk being upset over his jet being tracked. They make jokes. And I am by no means saying that they should do this next step. I am only saying that, well, in fact, I'm saying it kind of makes no sense for them to do the next step. Because the next step is, well, how do I fix this? I think comedians draw attention to situations in an effort to encourage us to think, how can I fix it? What can I do differently? Okay, so what can we do differently? We need to look at our own lives and ask ourselves, is there a situation where, for example, I have employees and I have to go to the bathroom, and when I have to go to the bathroom, I just go to the bathroom and come back? Do I allow my employees the same freedom? I do my job as it happens. I write books. I now do this YouTube channel. I am able to work from home. Where it makes sense, am I allowing my employees to do the same thing? So if I needed to go into an office, then do I need to be there every day? Do I need to be there once a week? Do I need to be there at what frequency? And do I give my employees the same opportunity? Because if I am the receptionist at a doctor's office, then the very title, receptionist, I am receiving people, it suggests that I need to be there to do that. However, if my task is simply to book appointments for the doctor, there's no need for me to actually be in the office to do that. And quite honestly, there's no need for a human being to do that. All of that can be automated and done online. But there needs to be somebody sitting at the office when a patient arrives. Say, hello, thank you for being here. Pull your file out of the filing cabinet to put it in the folder thing next to the exam room when you go in. There is lots for a person to do. If you work in some sort of manufacturing job and you put bolts into holes and nuts on the end, you need to be physically present to be there. If you are a lawyer, do you need to be in the office all day, every day? Probably no. Case in point, clearly there's no need for them to be in the office every hour of every day, because there are plenty of hours when they are in court. So they are somewhere else doing their job. These are the things to look at. When you look at something that someone else is doing, and in this case we're looking at Elon Musk, saying something that was designed for safety, he is saying that, okay, it's designed for safety, it is broadcast to the public, and anybody can intercept that information. But posting it to Twitter, a platform he owns, that is a safety violation. So if you posted it to Instagram, If you posted it to Facebook, if you posted it to wherever, what, that's not a safety violation? It's only a safety violation because you happen to own the platform and you can do something about it? I'm going to call BS on that one. And I'm going to say, this is a Cranium X Rectum moment. Dude, either you are a free speech absolutist or you are not. And right now, you clearly are not. There is speech that you are absolutely willing to quash because you dislike it. Because you can't take something that is a safety feature and then turn around a safety feature that is publicly accessible, publicly capturable, publicly disseminated, and turn around and say, well, if you actually intercept it and disseminate that information through my platform, that constitutes a safety violation. No, sorry. And so my question to you, the viewer, the family member, the person watching this, is there a space in your life where you're doing the same thing? Especially for parents. Is there a space in your life where you are communicating to your children that they should do as you say, not as you do? Because if you are, you need to change that. Kids aren't stupid. There may be plenty of information that they lack, but even a 5, 6, 7-year-old can recognize when you are saying one thing and doing another. And by the time they're 10, 11, 12, they really recognize it. And it starts to affect who they will be as they grow. That's what you need to think about. And that is my hope for every video that goes out on this channel. Is, are you thinking about how you behave with this? Because how you behave, how I behave is the only thing I can control. Lots of things happen in my life over which I have no control. But how I respond to those things, the reactions I train myself to have to those things, this is in my control. Okie doke. Think about it. Think about what you're doing. If you have questions or comments, please, by all means, put them down below. If you like what you're hearing, please click the thumbs up. That helps very much for the channel to grow and this information to be disseminated as widely as possible. And I will ask you please to subscribe. That helps the videos pop up in your feed on YouTube, and it gives a metric that YouTube uses to both measure my success and reward me for success. Okie doke. Thank you. Have a good day.